All right, folks, Smith and Scarbrough short game here today. Today we're here on the Creekside short game area, and we want to talk about a little bit of like the end of the grain lies. Now, first thing I talk about when we go to a short game shot is sort of assess the lie. Now, here in Florida, the grass does grow sideways as opposed to maybe some of your homes up north where the bent grass is growing straight up and down, and maybe even some other types of grass as well. But my man Payton here and I have been talking about this for a few weeks, and we decided to give you some tips here on how to maybe hit a lower shot or maybe a higher shot here in these areas. So I'm going to basically show you on my end of the stick, so how to play it maybe more back in your stance and get a little more loft to it. And Payton here is going to show you how to hit it, maybe more middle or front of the stance and hit it a little bit lower with some spin. So we're going to start off with Payton talking about his shot there, and then we'll feed off of that.
Absolutely, yeah. So thanks for that. But first and foremost, especially into the grain, we got to remember not to try to help the ball up, right? Because a lot of times when we try to help it up, what do we see? Kind of start to tilt back a little bit. That shaft gets really kind of steep, and we just duff it right into the ground. So I think setup, you would agree that whether what shot we're about to discuss today, the setup is going to be the most important thing. So I'll go ahead and start right here, and I'll show the camera first before I hit the shot. But I like to see, a little bit more towards the middle of the stance, but I'm going to raise that handle up. So if you look from down the line view, it's going to be a little bit more. So that heel is going to get off the ground, because if that heel catches, it's right into the ground. We're going to stab it right in the ground. So I'm going to lift that handle up, get that heel off, but I'm also going to open it up just slightly, as we always do in the short game, just as a general rule, to get that bounce exposed. But I'm just going to lift it up slightly, and I'm just going to almost kind of make my little putting motion to where that ball just kind of comes out nice and spinny. So I'll hit it from the down the line view so you can see. I'm going to get in here. Ball's kind of slightly back, but I would say probably just more center than anything. I'm going to lift that handle up, and then I'm going to address it. So that way my hands are in the middle of my body. I can stay in that spot, and then I'll just hit that nice little low one there, nice and spinny, and it gets up on the green.
That's fantastic. I love what he did there. And even you might not get the cleanest of contact on these end of the grain shots, but as you can see, you get enough contact where it does advance it. So as Payton showed us sort of the face-on view a moment ago, some of the key things that if you watch it slowly that, he did talk about his setup, but we really want to feel as if sort of we're working sort of up and to the target. What I mean by that is, we've all been told to keep our head down, wait forward and all that fun stuff. And that's okay, we'll call it. But some of the things we need to be mindful of is, this right side cannot lower. It is just, that's a helping motion. You're going to hit behind it. You're going to do some funny things and wonder why. Now, secondly, as you saw Payton do this, his body was at impact, was sort of moving up and through it. So that head down stuff, we might need to take a little bit of a rain check on that.
So just to show the audience one more time, show them what would happen if you tried to raise, but you also collapse the backside, which is something that we see. Boom. So club goes forward, head, sternum, pelvis goes back. Recipe for disaster. That has a skull written all over it.
I've done it before. I've done it before, and I'll do it again.
I did it yesterday.
But we're talking about some things that we've seen sort of in passing that we want to help you guys with in a sense. So Payton showed you sort of like the, let's say, lower shot that might get a little more spin. And I'm going to show you a higher shot that it might have the same amount of spin, but this is a more, I can't say risky shot, but it's going to look a little funny compared to what we normally would see. So let's start. I'll face the camera. Now in this position, I'm going to put the ball back in my stance, and I mean back in my stance. It's going to be almost kind of on the right side of my right foot. Now we're going to set up the same way, meaning I'm going to stand still close to the golf ball. I'm going to stand nice and tall. I'm still going to have my, let's say, sternum pretty perpendicular to the floor. And what I'm going to do here is basically lean the shaft right of my, let's just say, belly button. It's going to be facing my right pocket. And I'm going to try to almost hit little draws with my wrist. So I'm going to let the club head pass my hands pretty quickly. You'll see it kind of work like this. And you can see how it pops up in the air. You didn't really see the ball, but you saw the launch of it. And it becomes quite simple. Not easy, but simple. So that wasn't the end of the grain necessarily, but this is. We're going to get sort of the down the line view. You're going to look at it from here. I'm close. I'm tall. Handles back. And you're going to see this work a little inside, but you're going to make sure the thumbs are working a little up from there. And we're going to feel as the club head passes sort of the handle there. And you're not going to really hit crisp shots from here. They're not going to feel the same as, let's say, no grain or down grain. But you get the gist that we can still hit quality golf shots from here.
Yeah, and take the peace of mind of knowing, hey, I'm into the grain, but if I just kind of execute my setup and what I'm trying to accomplish, even if we don't get the ideal contact that you and I both love, still can hit a good golf shot and hopefully not even have to putt it.
Yeah, I'd have to say if we're trying to perfect this game, I think we're going to probably fail at that.
Yeah.
So we just want to be the best and understand what we're doing here to produce the result that we desire. Like I said, we do mishit these, and I think we probably both mishit those a little bit too. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but I think again with the setup and just understanding the technique, what we were trying to accomplish, I think we got away with it a little bit just simply because of the contact and how we were controlling our low point there. So
yeah, so give these two things a try. If you have any questions regarding these or maybe any other aspects of your game, feel free to reach out to us and we'd be happy to help you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching.